But yeah, we're on, and I just want to let the people know I thank him again. This is the second time. A lot of my people know I told them on YouTube I'm a beginner at this computer stuff because they told me about stuff. I'm 27 years old and I never cared about the computers. Always was a troublemaker. Did not care about technology.
Hmm.
But I appreciate you doing it again, and let me get
Okay.
straight to it so you could get to sleep. It's late,
Hmm.
11:30, to let people know. And we got a
Hmm.
Paki,
Paquiliztli.
a Paquiliztli. He's a crochet creator. He's a PhD in pharmacy. And tell us a little bit about yourself, real quick.
Hmm. Yep. So like you said, I do tapestry crochet. It's a type of crochet where you can reproduce pictures with basically crochet is a type of knitting. It's not knitting, but it's similar to knitting. And so you can, with what I do is I can take any picture and I can remake it with yarn as any picture. And my background, my career is I actually work as a pharmacist full time. I have a doctorate in pharmacy.
Okay, and how long have you been doing the crochet art?
Hmm. I started doing it in well, I learned to crochet in 2010, but I started doing the art in 2013, around that time.
And what made you pursue the crochet?
Hmm. So crochet, I started in 2013, but before that, most of my life I've been interested in arts and crafts. So when I was younger, I would go to like the library and I would research books on different types of arts and crafts, such as I don't know, weaving, just like origami, um, even like yarn games, etc. I would always look those things up. So I always had a passion for arts and crafts, but my first introduction to crochet happened around 2010 when I was just kind of messing around, kind of like playing with yarn at home, and my mom saw what I was doing. So she said, "Oh, have you ever tried out crochet? Do you know what that is?" And I said, "No." She showed me like the basics, and then once I saw like started getting better at the basics, and I saw what crochet could do, that's when I started researching crochet on my own through books, through videos, etc. And then that's how I found. That's how I developed my skills and got better and at what I do.
Okay, and so what was it that you were trying to gain and pursue by
Mm-hmm.
doing crochet?
So my first when I first started looking at books on weaving and stuff like that, I started looking for ways in which I could reproduce pictures. And I started looking into knitting. I tried out different color work with knitting, and it wasn't. It's possible to do with knitting, but it's just not very comfortable, and it's not very. You can't make it the size that you want. So I stopped pursuing that once I had a size limitations. I started pursuing weaving, tapestry weaving, not tapestry crochet, but just tapestry weaving to reproduce pictures. But I wasn't very good at it at that time, so I just kind of gave up. And so my original idea was just I wanted to reproduce pictures, and I wanted to find the best medium to do it with the clearest and with the least amount of limits.
Okay, and how long did it take you to be good?
To be good. So I learned crochet in 2010, and I started getting, it took me about 3 years to get to where I am, like where pretty much where I am now. I mean, I've gotten better over the years, but it took me about 3 years to get to where I wanted to be.
Now, are you trying to pursue this more as like a side job, hobby, or career, or any of those?
Hmm. As of right now, I have a full-time job as a pharmacist, but I do this on my free time. I do it whenever I get home from work. It's actually kind of, for me, it's kind of it's pretty much a hobby, but I might start doing more of it because it has been pretty successful in terms of like exposure to the wider community. So I pretty much right now it's a hobby, but it's a like a strong hobby,
Okay.
like because and I do commission pieces for people, so it's starting to become more like work. But as of right now, it's pretty much a hobby. Do I intend to pursue it more as a job? Maybe yes, but maybe making little things like bags.
Okay. And would you mind showing that art piece again? Is it if it's available right there on the side?
Yes. Okay. So this is one of my earlier pieces that I have. It has a scorpion. It's a scorpion. It has, yeah, I made this around 2013. This was one of the first things that I made. And it's a very personal thing for me because it actually represents my Nahuatl name, which is Atlachinocolot. It means burnt water scorpion. And I made it, I started crocheting it just because I started making just pieces that were meaningful to me. When I started crocheting, it had nothing to do with impressing other people or making other people happy. It was all about me and being happy.
That's fair. That's fair.
Mm-hmm. So it started as a hobby, and it just turns out that a lot of people liked what I was making. And that's how I kind of got exposure on the internet. But I honestly just started making things that I wanted for myself. And I made that scorpion sash, and now I still make these sashes, but I make them for like graduations.
Okay.
And I've sold about 2 or 3 of them that were just commissioned.
Wow. Now, can you tell about how you started doing? You're gonna start doing Nahuatl tutorials, and you've learned Nahuatl pretty fast in 3 years. So how is it, what is it that you're trying to do now that you know it?
I'm not doing Nahuatl tutorials necessarily right now, but I do teach at Eastside Cafe on Sundays. I teach Nahuatl. I'm one of the teachers, but I'm not the only teacher, but I'm one of the teachers. I started learning Nahuatl in 2013. I started getting interested in Nahuatl because I took a lot of ethnic studies courses in college, and I saw the influence of Nahuatl everywhere. I saw a lot of Nahuatl words, and I just got really curious. But on top of that, I danced as a Mexica dancer for about 4 or so years, and a lot of the dancers would use Nahuatl words. I got really curious. I went to investigate more on it, and then I realized I really liked how it sounded. And that's how I got into it. I started learning from books. I started learning classical Nahuatl in about 2013, and around that time I also met a native speaker who would Skype with me and help me with the pronunciation. And once I got better with the pronunciation, I kept studying grammar, etc. And then about 2 years ago, I moved here I live here in North Hollywood. And it just happened to be that there are a lot of other people in the LA area that were interested in Nahuatl, and we all got together. And we've had our class for almost a year now, and now I'm learning Huasteca Nahuatl. I'm at the point where I understand spoken Nahuatl, and I can create sentences. I can have a semi-decent conversation, and I feel I'm getting there where I'm comfortable, and I am at the point where I can teach, and I do teach other people. So,
wow, that's real nice. And people need to look up your channel to see how you're talking now. What I recommend, and mine's that how now you came over here. You were born in Mexico, and so how can you tell us a little bit? What was that like for you growing up?
Where I grew up. Okay, so I was born in Michoacan. So I've actually researched my background, and chances are I'm more likely Purepecha. I did the DNA test also, and my DNA comes out to be about 50% Native American. So I was born in Michoacan, and I was born right where the center of the Purepecha civilization was. So chances are more than likely I am Purepecha. But I was born in Mexico. I came to the United States when I was 4 years old. And I grew up in a city called Oxnard, which is between Ventura and Camarillo. It's about 45 minutes south of of Santa Barbara. And that's where I grew up. I was there from age 4 to about age 18.
Oh, wow. All the way up there. Living in Mexico. Wow. So how was it that you came here and you pursued your PhD in pharmacy? And so can you tell us a little bit about how was that like, the transfer?
So well, ever since I was young, I was always a quick learner. I pretty much excelled a lot in school in the science and math category. So when I went to college, when I went to UC San Diego, my major was biochemistry. And I pursued pharmacy because when I started researching career options, I wanted to pick something that was where I could apply science in a practical way, but that also had some exposure to people, but that wasn't very time consuming. So my major, biochemistry, most of the people who do that major end up working in a lab, but I felt that that was too confined. I felt like I wasn't going to meet people or see things or do anything. So I didn't choose to be in a lab because I didn't want to be enclosed or confined. I looked into the health field because that's where you can apply science practically. And then I looked into dentist, pharmacy, and doctor. I saw doctor and I thought doctor was very practical, but I thought that it was too time consuming. So I decided something in between, like pharmacy, was going to allow me to have free time for myself, but then still apply math and science. That's why I chose pharmacy.
And that's impressive. Like I was saying, like I don't meet too many Mexicans with PhDs. And do you get that a lot though?
I do get that a lot, but if people put me down, I don't keep them in my life. Yeah. So no, but that's not necessarily putting me down. But no, you're right. It is a very exceptional. It's an exceptional thing. You're right. I don't think that it should be as exceptional as it is, but I would say yes. There aren't that many people out there like me, but I think that I shouldn't be the only one, and that other people could do it, given the right opportunities.
Now, with your artwork, are you like selling it like amongst yourself, or do you got people selling it for you? Like.
So right now I take commission work, meaning people will contact me on social media and tell me what they want me to make them. And then generally it will take me a couple months and I'll make them whatever I can. I work with them, and so basically I take commission work and then I sell it to them. I do also make my own pieces some of them I have. I have exhibited them before, but I don't have other people sell them for me at this moment. I sell them myself.
Okay. Now, on one thing, what would it be that you would like to see, change amongst our community of the Mexican Chicano people, the culture and environment that we are not being a relevant community?
I think that there's a lot of factors of why our community isn't as out there as other communities. I think part of it is the way that we see ourselves, and part of it is the way that other people treat us, the larger society, and how they view us. It stems, I think, from a long chain of events in history, like colonialism, like discrimination, like being in a state of poverty. I think there isn't just one reason why we are where we are, but I do think that a big part of it is how we see ourselves. One of the things that I think we could change, we cannot necessarily change the way that other people treat us, whether or not they discriminate us, but we can change the way that we see ourselves. So I think one of the things that we can change is the way we see ourselves. one of the main focuses of my art, if you notice the trend in my art, a lot of it is self-empowerment. A lot of the pieces that I make are about you believing in yourself and you seeing yourself as powerful. So one of the things that I would like people to change is to start seeing themselves as powerful, start seeing their own abilities, not questioning what they can do, not limiting themselves based on perceptions of other people or stereotypes that other people have of them. I think if we start changing the way we see ourselves, all the other pieces will fall into place.
Nice. Now, on the other hand, I mean, pretty much we did this quicker than the last one, I think, because you already knew what to say.
I know, right?
But I mean, other than that, like I was saying before, I hope you continue to rise in what you're doing. PhD. I don't know how old you are. I don't know if you want to say. You seem young, like my age. I said, but
I'm actually I'm 30 years old.
Okay, a couple years.
Yeah,
older.
I'm gonna turn 31 in September.
Okay.
So, but I think that age is just a number. I don't think that it defines me.
Yeah.
But yeah, people always ask, but I don't necessarily care to share. I would say that the thing that has made me successful is that I believe in myself, and that all the success that I have has been with me seeing myself as I can do things. So I think that it's not a thing that I can, it's not the only power that I can. What I'm trying to say is not only I can see myself as powerful, but you can see yourself as powerful, and the things that I make, maybe they may not be the same things that you may not do the same things that I make, but you can reach your own potential, your full potential, by seeing yourself as powerful. So regardless of your age or whatever, it doesn't matter.
And how long did it take you to get your PhD though?
It took me 4 years. Once you graduate from an undergraduate course, depending on what program you get into, it'll range from 4 years to maybe say 8 years, depends on the degree that you get. Pharmacy school takes 4 years. Most of them.
That's nice. Now, I appreciate the time, the interview again, and and hopefully we get some of because this what I pull in the Mexican Chicano people on my channel, and hopefully they get some inspiration by seeing someone out there, or people with a PhD, showing that we can do it, that we could do more than the stereotype lawnmower, selling oletos on the corner or whatever, and that's impressive. You got the artwork, the crochet going, and man, that work is impressive. One day, hopefully when you're not busy, I gotta put in something and be like, hey, I love those scarves.
You like this?
The scarves, yeah.
A lot of people like them. A lot of people like them. Those I think are actually easier. They only take 6 weeks to make. All the other ones take like months. But those they don't take very long. So actually, I will probably continue to make those. But on the topic of seeing people doing things, I think it's very important to have people out there who show you that they can do it, so that you can see you can do it. I think that's very important. I think a lot of the role models that we have in our community, they exist. You just don't know about them because they don't show them. They're out there.
And that's what I want to push more. That's what I'm trying to do for my channel. I'm trying to reach out to people like you, that Mexicans who I've seen are being creative and pushing. Everything they got, all odds against them, and they're doing it. Because I'm pretty sure when you were going for your PhD, people were like, are you sure you're going to be able to do this, mijo, and all that? And, look at you now, years later, you're doing it live and, talking about it. And,
there are definitely a lot of struggles, a lot of especially the last year, I had a lot of issues. But I did fix them. But yeah, it's not a joke. It's not a joke. It's hard. But it is possible. There's nothing that you cannot do if you don't if you have to just persevere and just say, I'm gonna do it, and I don't care what other people think. I'm gonna do it because I want it. So yeah, that's my best advice, is don't let other people's perception of you change what you're going to do. You do it because you want to do it and it makes you happy. That's my best advice.
All right, brother. I appreciate that, and hopefully everything continues to go well for you. And,
Thank you.
We could talk in the future again, and I'm definitely gonna hit you up, man. And I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna bug you, like, man, I need a scarf done. I'm gonna be like, I already seen that scorpion one done. Send that one my way. But yeah, any last words you want to tell, our people out there that happen to come across this interview?
I pretty much said what my life philosophy, and obviously you can catch my, believe in yourself, do things, that's my main message. But of course, the last message I want to say is, if you want to find me, it's easy to find me online. Look up Paquiliztli, Paquiliztli, means happiness in Nahuatl. Look me up, Google it, find me on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. I have practically, if you type in Paquiliztli on YouTube, anything, you'll find me. I'm the first thing that pops up.
Yeah.
If you type in Nahuatl on Facebook, on YouTube, you'll find me.
And look it up. I recommend look up his channel, subscribe, watch his tutorial and his crochet, time-lapse crochets. I've seen all those. Your San Francisco gallery that you had. Check that out. And would you mind saying goodbye or something in Nahuatl, to us?
Yes. Piali mohuantin na no toka Diego wan niolpactoc pampanitstok nikan nikneki ni mechilis tlen imohuanti inweli inkichiwase santlen weli inkineki tlaskamati timoitase seyok vuelta.
Alright, come on now, can you translate one time for us?
I said, hi everybody, my name is Diego and I'm happy because I'm here. I want to basically say that you guys can do anything that you want to do. And then I said, thank you. And I might have forgotten some things here and there. It already escaped my mind what I said.
Yeah, that's
but basically I said, I'm really happy that I'm here and that you can do anything that basically you can do anything. That's what I said.
Nice. Now, thank you very much, brother. I'll catch you, hit you up in the future, and I'll let you know. I'll shoot you this video when it's done and up on the channel.
Is your channel's
Famous Wolf?
Famous Wolf. Okay, so it'll be up. Okay, awesome.
All right, brother. Have a good
I'll
night.
definitely
Have a good
share your video too. All right.
All right.
Thank you so much. Peace.